People don't realize how much swearing happens to make the thumbnail a thing. Everyone, it's Emily Fox. Today's video is going to be my June book haul video. So I have accumulated some books and I wanted to share them with you. So let's start with the ones that I got on BookOutlet. If you don't know, I'm a BookOutlet book vlogger friend, and I will link my page down below so you can see all the books that I've been getting from them. And let's start with those because I have a few very interesting ones. Actually, I got two classic and a half, you're gonna see, but I saw these gorgeous editions and I feel like you can see they're like almost velvety. So I've never read any of these and I was super intrigued to read them. I feel like they're like high school classics. Like everyone had to read them in high school except me, so I wanted to go and torture myself a little bit. I feel like people tend to like hate these books just because they're forced to read them. I feel like the reviews are very popular and a bunch of these are made into movies too, so really they can't be that bad. And I haven't seen a movie. I've never heard anything except that the characters are not super likable in here. This is The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. I don't think I've ever read anything by him actually. And yeah, apparently it's a fairly short book and people have strong feelings about it, and I wanted to finally understand what people talk about when they talk about this. It's a fairly short book actually. It's like not even 200 pages, so it shouldn't be a problem to go through it, and I just could not resist this absolutely gorgeous cover. How gorgeous is this? So this is gonna look very pretty on my shelves for sure, but I just want to read those classics because you're going to see I have another one, which is Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. Again, something I have never seen the movies. I have never read them, never heard really much about it. All I know is that there's a few sisters, I think. And that's literally it. I know nothing else. I feel like I've heard like people mention this book either in movies or in other books, but that's all. So I want to again see what this is all about, and also the cover is very pretty, same with the spine. And then the last high school classics. This is how I'm gonna start talking about them because it just works. I've never read this book, never. The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger. Honestly, I know everyone says that the main character is not likable, / when you're a teenager you relate to all the angst, but when you read it as an adult, you can't stand him. And I'm okay with that. Like, I feel like sometimes people don't like reading books when the characters are not likable, but when they are meant to be unlikable, I like them. It's when you're supposed to like them and I don't like them, that's when I have an issue. So I'm curious to see how that's gonna go. I know nothing about it at all. And again, it's not that big. It's like less than 300 pages. It just, I want to go back and read all the high school classic I've never had a chance to read. Let me know in the comment section what were the books you had to read in high school that are considered classics. I would love to know because I feel like I've missed out on a lot of like famous ones. I never got to read them, so I will now. I got a fantasy book. This is Akita Witch by Nnedi Okorafor, which I have read a trilogy by her, the Binti trilogy, and I enjoyed how unique her setting was. My main complaint was that they were so short. They're like less than 200 pages, and this one is definitely a thicker one. This has 350 pages, and I believe this is a trilogy, or at least there's a second one that I've seen for sure. And apparently the magic system is also super interesting in here, and I mean, I will read pretty much any fantasy with magic. So here we are. And also that cover looks awesome, and even the cover of the like next book looks awesome. I usually don't like people on my covers, but there are a few exceptions. I mean, there's literally a quote of Ursula K. Le Guin on top, so I'm sold. And last but not least, I got a nonfiction book because I feel like once in a while I like going back to them. I feel like I like the idea of reading them more sometimes than I do reading them, just because I like the time and like the energy. Is it like that for you? Like, I feel like sometimes people read to escape and some people can only read when they're not stressed, and I feel like I'm okay reading even when I'm stressed when it's like fiction, but nonfiction I need to not be tired, not be stressed to be able to actually get something out of the book. Hopefully I will find time for this one. This is Physics of the Future, How Science Will Shape Human Destiny and Our Daily Lives by the Year 2100. Yes, please. I had read a few books like Homo Sapien, not Homo Sapien, Sapien, and there was Homo Deus, and then there's a third one that I read. I haven't read Amadeus yet. Basically, it's just a topic I'm really fascinated about. I want to read way more. So if you have any recommendations, please let me know because I want to read so much more about it. And I feel like I've heard about this author. I know he wrote a bunch of nonfiction about like physics and everything. I will have to look for more books by him if I enjoy this one. So, okay, now let's go through the huge pile of books that I have next to me. I brought like half on me right now. It's really a mix of genre and everything. I mean, I buy a lot of books used and then I try to like get a few books with topics I'm intrigued about. So it's a mix. We have Robot Dreams by Isaac Asimov. I have read I, Robot by him, which inspired the movie, which is nothing alike like at all. I really liked the movie, by the way. So I wanted to try this one because it contains the short story that I've read by him, which is The Last Question. And I believe it's available online. I'm pretty sure that's where I read it from. And I really enjoyed that one and I wanted to see more little short stories by him because I find that like hard classic sci-fi tend to have very interesting topic concepts that are pretty different than the more like modern ones. So I'm hoping that I will enjoy the other short stories. I can't wait to actually reread that one because obviously I've forgotten quite a bit in the last couple of years, but I remember really enjoying it. So then I saw this little book, which is Gravity by Tess Gerritsen. I think this is a movie because it looks like a movie cover. If I remember correctly, this one is, there's a microorganism in a spaceship that kind of starts killing everyone, and the main female character is trying to not die before like they come and get her type of thing. And I don't think I've ever seen the movie, and the review seems positive on Goodreads. It's kind of what happens. I'm at the like library sale. I'll look on my phone the ratings and then read it a little bit, and if I feel like okay, that's something I would enjoy, I just grab it. So that's what happened with this one. Also, I picked up this humongous scary book. This is Gardens of the Moon by Steven Erikson. This is a like epic fantasy series. This is the first book and apparently nobody finishes it because it follows like a million characters and it's super overwhelming. So people tend to like reread this like 50 times before they're able to finish it. That's pretty much how it was sold to me. And I'm like, oh yay, that sounds fun. But seriously, this has been on my list of like, I need to like get to that one eventually because I seem to see it a lot on the list of people like, ooh, best fantasy book I've ever read. But the reviews are, like I said, people saying that it's quite hard to get into, but I'm intrigued. I mean, the challenge is part of the intrigue, I guess. Speaking of fantasy, I decided to grab these two books, which are Royal Assassin and then Assassin's Quest by Robin Hood. I have the first book, which is the Assassin Apprentice, and I've been meaning to read some Robin Hood like forever, but I'm kind of scared to start because it's like a bunch of fantasy like story, like literally a million books, and they're all part of the same universe, and most of them I believe follow the same characters throughout like his whole life. And I feel like when I start, I will not be able to like stop until I finish, and it's overwhelming. But now I have the first trilogy on my shelf, so I'll be able to like binge read it all. And apparently the author is not afraid to break your little heart, so I'm excited for some fantasy. Would it be a haul video without a bunch of sci-fi? I think not. So I have a few classic sci-fi. I have Roadside Picnic, and I believe this one is a First Contact with Alien-ish. You're gonna see that there's a bunch of them. I'm kind of hoping to do a video about my favorite ones, and as always I feel like I can't do a video until I've read like so much more, so that's kind of what I'm attempting by hoarding them all. What I'll probably do is do like a first one, ask for recommendations, read more, and do like an updated one in the future. It's probably a more reasonable way of doing it than like trying to read like 50 in 1 month so I can do the video, you know what I mean? It's just that I'm always afraid to do like a video like that and everyone's like, oh, you haven't read that one? And I'm like, I want to, but I haven't had a chance to read all of them before doing the video, so I just need to get over myself. But yeah, that's a classic sci-fi. I've been meaning to read it. First Contact with Aliens. Then I have oh my god, I can't say it in a sentence. Rediscovery of Men. And this one is a bunch of, again, short story, and they're about like some possible future for humanity, something like that. Basically, I just want to read more classic sci-fi. When I see them, I read them. That's just how it is. Plus, let's be real, I really love those editions, the Masterworks ones. So eventually I will have like a full shelf of them and just be very happy. But I feel like sometimes sci-fi can be quite overwhelming, like to start a book. Often they're really, really big books too, so I feel like short stories might be a good way to continue reading some without feeling overwhelmed. Then we have Revelation Space by Alastair Reynolds. I can't say that in English. That's gonna be my best attempt. This one I think might be considered still first contact with aliens. Something like humanity sees a planet where there used to be some type of alien like 900,000 years ago, and before they were able to travel in space, something happened to just kill them all, and humanity is trying to figure out what happened so it won't happen to them. And I feel like that's a very, very interesting concept. This author is well known for writing a lot of sci-fi. I haven't read anything by him yet, but the reviews are so positive, and I believe this one is a trilogy or at least a series. So I thought, you know what, let's grab book one and see where it goes. But I feel like I never see sci-fi that are short. This one is over 500 pages. It doesn't look that bad, but 500 pages, they tend to scare me a little bit. I don't know why, honestly, because I tend to enjoy bigger books, but we can do this. This book seemed to have a very, very interesting premise. Sometimes you read like the first sentence, or you read like the first little bit of the premise and you're like, yeah, I need this book in my life. This is what happened to me with this one. This is The Quantum Thief. For this one, on Goodreads, it says something like, in the morning when the main character wakes up, he has to kill himself before his other selves kill him. And I was like, yes, I need this in my life. So very intriguing. If you have any recommendations for like super interesting premises, especially sci-fi, yes, please. So obviously needed this in my life. Some books that I've read something else by the author and I just wanted to give a chance to something else. The first one is Americana by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. I've read a lot of nonfiction by her and I love her straight up as a person, but I like her writing, and if you ever have the chance to listen to her in an interview or something, she's just amazing and so charismatic. And this is a fiction book by her and I haven't read any yet, so this one I thought I would give it a shot. Plus, I mean, have you seen this edition? I needed this in my life for sure. Same thing with this duology. This is the Dream Blood duology by N.K. Jemisin. I really enjoyed the Broken Earth trilogy by her last year. Very fascinating, like fantasy, sci-fi, and just everything was very, very unique. And I'm hoping that I will enjoy this fantasy duology by her. It's 2-in-1, which is like my favorite thing ever. It makes for scary books, but you get all of it in one book. But basically at this point, I will try pretty much anything she has ever written because so unique. I saw this one at my library sale and it seemed kind of strange, but in a good way. It's an older sci-fi and you can see on the cover, there are literally dolphins. Yeah, people just riding on dolphins. I mean, I was like, this looks kind of bad, but in a good way. So I decided to grab it. I believe this is also first contact with aliens. So I was like, I mean, it works for what I wanted to read, so I decided to grab it. Hopefully it's good. Like, I don't want to like sound like it sounds bad, but like, I mean, have you seen that cover? I have been really wanting to pick up this book. This is an historical fiction, I believe it's considered. This is The Golem and the Genie, and by Ellen Wecker. And I had a friend that was saying that it kind of reminded her like same vibe as the something circus. What is it? The Night Circus? And even though I didn't love that book for a few different reasons, I did enjoy the vibe of it, and I'm hoping that this could be the same thing. Basically, this is about like an unlikely friendship between a golem and a genie, and historical fiction. I believe it's also in New York, which for some reason I enjoy reading about. So it's also a standalone, which I feel like not enough books are, so that's it. Those are all the books that I have accumulated. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comment section if you have read any of these and if you feel like I need to like put them higher on my TBR. Don't forget to give this a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe because you definitely don't want to miss any future videos, and I will be putting other videos actually on the screen that I recommend you check out, and I will be seeing you in my next one. Bye!